Hey there, Sparkrock community. We're back with another update for Sparkrock HRP with some improvements to how mass records of employments are generated. For HR and payroll teams that generate ROEs in high volume, like at the end of the school year or during layoffs, getting the data right the first time matters. Manual cleanup across hundreds of ROE records adds up quickly, and this update helps to address that. So in this video, we're going to introduce the new last day for which pay field on the Mass Create ROE screen. We'll walk through the new submission default and cover a corrected recall option behavior. Let's get started. The first change is a new field on the Mass Create Records of Employment page. Previously, the last day for which paid value was automatically derived from the pay cycle end date. That worked for most cases, but there are real scenarios where the correct last day for which paid is different than both the pay cycle end date and the termination date. So now when you open Mass Create Record of Employment, you'll see a new last day for which paid field directly below the effective date field. It's optional, so you only need to fill it in when the value you need differs from the existing system default. So now when you run the Mass ROE process, if you entered a value on the report, that value is populated. If you didn't, the system falls back to the existing logic and uses the pay cycle end date just like before. Next up, a change to how new records of employment records are marked. Previously, Mass ROE records that were generated and populated on the Mass Employee Record of Employment page defaults to Submit in the submission field. That meant that newly created records were flagged for submission before anyone had a chance to review them. Well, with this update, now all records generated by the Mass Create Record of Employment process now defaults the submission field to Draft. That gives your team a chance to review the records first and submit them deliberately rather than having them treated as ready to go the moment they're generated. We've also fixed how the recall option flows through to the generated records. Before this update, if you selected something when mass creating ROEs, the generated reports didn't always reflect that. In some cases, they were populated with a different value, such as N not returning, which meant another round of manual corrections. Well, now, whatever recall option you select on the report parameters is propagated directly to the correct generated ROE records exactly as selected. So that's a wrap on this Sparkrock HRP update. With these improvements, payroll administrators can specify the last day for which paid when it differs from default logic. New ROE records default to draft, so teams can review before submission. The recall option selected on the report now flows through cleanly to every generated record. And time spent on post-generation cleanup should drop significantly, especially during peak periods like year-ends and layoffs. So be sure to check out the release notes for full details and let your customer success manager know if you have other enhancement suggestions. Thanks so much for watching.